Yo guys, so I'm gonna start doing like 3 to 5 minute videos of every like random thought or realization that comes to mind that I remember in the moment because through my life I have all these crazy like realizations midday and I don't do anything with them. I usually put them on my WhatsApp status and the people on there are not really receptive to what I'm saying. Um, and so I don't really even have like contacts anymore. I have like a few people in my phone, maybe like 15, I would say 15. Um, and yeah, so in today's video, I want to discuss, you know, like physical aspects and all the different aspects of like realization and how anything can be put towards realization if you can perfect it, if you can work on it. It can become a process where you can access grace, okay, a lack of friction. This is why we look at in Japanese culture, there's a huge emphasis on craftsmanship, like the blacksmiths and honing the sword. And for each different part of the sword, there's like another profession. One guy makes the sword. No, a crew of people make the steel. Two other guys make the sword. One guy refines the sword. Then there's like a whole nother profession of polishing the sword and then wrapping it. And when you look at the Japanese bow, it's even more so difficult. It's even more so complicated. And what I feel is that these professions, it's exactly the same as going and sitting down in a cave and doing yoga and meditation for tens of years, decades. Typically in 12-year cycles, these things are done. And so, what does this process do? You know, well, when you are doing such detailed work like blacksmithing, like carpentry, like farming, like music, okay, the focus and all encompassing nature of the process, the level of involvement that you have to have with that process is a level where you yourself disappears. You have to become like empty. You cannot be thinking. You cannot be opinionated. You lose the ego when you do something fully. Because doing something fully means that you yourself have to be whole in that moment. And that's why we feel amazing when we accomplish something that requires a lot of detail and a lot of intricacy. This is the same with meditation. Meditation and yoga is just a more short-term process, okay? Very long-term, but you will see results quicker if you understand, what you're doing and if you're under a guru who can teach you properly. But not all of us have the privilege of an enlightened master. And so these things that have been drilled into society in Japan, in India, in many other countries, were put into society many, many, many years ago by people who understood the value of detail, the value of harmony, and the value of, you know, putting the necessary amount of focus and energy into things. Because doing that allows you to go beyond your impulses. You think when that man is in that forge, where they make the iron, they use iron sand, and it's a long process. You think that when he feels that heat and he has to wear that robe so that he doesn't get burnt or hurt, do you think when he feels that heat that he doesn't want to just leave? Of course he wants to leave, but he has to go beyond his impulses. Just as the yogi who sits in the cold has to go beyond his impulses to remain rooted to that spot. Because we want to go beyond all those parts of us which fluctuate. By fluctuating at a very high level, with as little friction as possible. To become one with the process allows you to lose yourself in the process, and what's left behind is pure consciousness. And this is why hobbies are so important. Yes, we have responsibilities to our family, to our people, but if you can have a sport or a craft or something fun, and every day, every week, every month you improve in that process, you will find a certain fulfillment within yourself, and you will find that with the observation, the level of focus that you have when conducting that process will translate to the rest of your life. This is why in movies they romanticize the tofu man, the man who makes tofu. They romanticize the carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. Okay? Krishna was a cowherd. Sadhguru was a hang gliding coach, instructor, and he owned a construction company. All highly detail-oriented processes that if you miss one step, you can kill many people. Okay? And I'm not saying that you should go out there and necessarily risk your life, but you should be having a certain amount of intensity and focus often, so that you can maintain that state as long as possible after that process has been done. Meditation is the easiest form of this. It is the base form of this. But meditation can be passed on to other things. You think yogis sit around all day in a temple and they don't do anything and they just chant? Yes, on certain occasions that is the case. But the majority of the time, they are tending to the temple, they are creating things, they are painting, they're making music, they are building the ashram, building maybe their own house, whatever. They can do whatever they want. They can climb trees, they can test their strength with maces. This is what life has been. Once the survival aspect is settled, we can go beyond our base impulses. Once there is enough food and there is enough wealth established, we can go beyond the search for the things which provide our basic needs. We can go into the spiritual aspect. If you're very hardcore, you can leave. You can leave society, go into nature, and learn how to hunt and do whatever. And you can attain realization that way too, any number of ways. But for most people, you can do it in a balanced, sweet way that doesn't involve too much pain, too much suffering. It is tough to sit there and do pranayam, to do meditation, to do mantra. It's really tough on some days, especially when you're hurting and you're tense. But on those days where everything works, wow, that keeps you in line with your true purpose. That keeps you in line with the fact that realization and enlightenment is the highest thing. When you just get a taste of it. That is why yogis do these things every single day. Is because if they can get a taste of it and prolong that taste as long as possible, they know that one day they will make it. Anyways, guys, that is all for today. I will see you soon, and namaste. And if you would like, check the top link in the description to buy the Zenith scroll. It is my own product that will teach various forms of meditation, physical training, and mental understanding. Ciao.